Hello, everybody, and welcome to Friday Contact on the Null Zone. I hope you're all doing well. You're probably wondering why I'm all streaming this early. Well, Lee is still not feeling up to streaming right now. Obviously, he's being sick, so he's got a lot of work that's backlogged. And of course, PD Rich is busy with work tonight. So there was no point in me going live at 9 o'clock when we were just going to wing it anyway. So I decided that I'd go live now, and we would call this stream Get It Off Your Chest, because if there's anything you guys want to have a bit of a rant about or talk about, put it in the chat. Let me know. I'll read it out and I'll see if I agree with you. So yeah, we won't go live for too long today. I do have a member stream coming up on Sunday, guys. So for you members, don't forget, we have a member stream on Sunday, and we'll have a bit of a natter on Sunday as well. And then, of course, I'm over on the Man United channel. I've only just finished a live stream there. And we will be live there tomorrow at 2:30 to cover Manchester United versus Brighton. So I decided that I'd come on early and have a little bit of a natter with you and have a bit of a moan and get things off me chest. So I think we've got to start off with all of this climate change, man-made nonsense. So 100 people in Cork, and Cork is becoming the woke capital of Ireland. Last night, a load of drag queens had a protest because the pub that they drink in was being refurbished and I think being renamed, and apparently they were against that. So they were out moaning yesterday. And of course, you've got all of these climate loony bins moaning again in Cork. Cork seems to be the place where all of this nonsense is coming from. So they say no more coal, no more oil, keep the carbon in the soil. None of these people are climate experts, right? The politicians that are talking are not climate experts. The people that the politicians are listening to are also not experts. And the experts that are there have been paid off, right? The fact of the matter is, if you look out your window right now, I don't know where you are in the world, but right now I've got clouds, I've got rain, and it's cold, right? We had a couple of days of warm weather in September, and everybody was saying heat wave, right? But I remember having that weather when I was growing up as school. We go back to school, and every September we'd be sweating because we'd have the short, the tie on, the big woolly jumper, the trout, the slacks, the shoes, and then we'd have a bag full of books that was really heavy, and then you'd have a big jacket as well because that was the school attire, so you had to wear everything. And when we were going back to school in Septembers, it was always warm in the first couple of weeks. Some Septembers actually it'd be completely like a summer, right? Going into October, nothing new, right? But you know, the UN's going, oh, we're facing a new crisis now, climate boiling. The climate is not boiling. This whole man-made climate changes, a host of climate changes, no matter what, we have limited impact on what happens to the climate. What we should be more concerned about is the environment, our oceans, cleaning up our oceans, cleaning up our canals, cleaning up our rivers, stopping trees from being chopped down, because now apparently the new danger to climate change is trees. We were always taught in school and educated that trees were played a very important role on our planet, just like plants and animals, like the bees. Every every single species on this planet plays a role. But now we're being told the opposite out the window. And why do I bring this up? Well, it's on the same day that Greta Thunberg was stage arrested again. Yes, it's becoming a bit of a joke now. Now that she's over the age now, she's being stage arrested. And the reason why I say stage arrested is because we have seen the other so-called arrests where it has actually been staged. We've seen all the footage. So she was stage arrested again for entering a place that she shouldn't have entered. Here's the thing, why are countries letting her in their countries in the first place when they know she's going to cause nothing but bother? Why not stop her from coming into these countries herself? If she wants to protest in her own country, then so be it, let her do that. But she shouldn't be allowed entry into anybody else's country if she's going to be going around and flogging this nonsense. It's as simple as that. So sick of this absolute rubbish, and another staged arrest. And you know, people need to cop on. Why is it staged? Well, as long as it's staged and photographs of her in the media talk about how she's being arrested, she keeps this climate hoax, this man-made climate hoax in the news. And that's why she's doing it now, because she's not getting her way. She's very quickly found out that no matter what she said to the politicians, she could go, how dare you again? She could do whatever she wants, right? At the end of the day, the last thing on politicians' minds, believe it or not, would be the climate. You know, they have pushed it a little bit more in recent years, but to be quite honest with you, they're more than happy to take backhanders and money off the EU rather than listen to a girl screaming about man-made climate change. Also, Apple, as you know, Apple has kind of, look, when Steve Jobs died, Apple lost, and I think the world lost a very unique man. He had this mind that was just unbelievable. He came up with things and concepts that were never heard of before, and Apple did become the leading brand when it came to creating new pieces of technology. But since Steve Jobs has passed away, Apple have basically, what they've done is everything that Steve Jobs has created, they've basically just repackaged that in different sort of devices, right? They haven't actually really created anything new. And there were ideas there that Steve Jobs would, when he was there, that he wouldn't have probably went through with, that they went with, because they couldn't come up with that in themselves. So now Apple has decided that all of their products from now on, well, from a certain date, are going to be all carbon neutral. And they've been praised for this. I don't know why they're being praised. They've stagnated for a lot of these years. They set up their devices so even after the first update, they're degrading, right? They've been ripping off customers for decades, right? And they've come up with nothing new. And then they come out with all this carbon neutral malarkey, and everybody's praising Apple. Why doesn't people put pressure on Apple of their practices and how they create their devices to fail, and that you have to keep buying a new model every year? You shouldn't have to buy a new model every year, to be quite honest. But they're all about making money and all of this. It's absolute joke. It is. And this is the only way that Apple is trying to stay relevant. And of course, they've went into TV, the streaming services. And the only reason why they've went into that is because their tech is not actually making the money that it used to make. Okay? And I think a lot of people, Android gets a lot of stick. There's a lot of propaganda videos, little jokey videos out there of a girl and a boy on a date, and then the girl asks for the boy's number and he hands her an Android phone, and she goes, well, I'm not dating you because you have an Android phone. Basically, if you don't have an Apple phone, I don't want that to do with you. Right? It's the message that they're trying to convey in that little joke ad. but it's absolutely ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. So at least with an Android phone, you know it's reliable. Apple is not reliable in any way. And again, it's a sad indictment of the company that since Steve Jobs has gone, passed away, that company hasn't done anything new. So this is the way to try and stay relevant. Oh, here, look at now you can buy the new Apple phone, which will break after about 6 months anyway, and now it's carbon neutral. Get away. Did you hear them banging? Did you hear that? That's what we have to put up with.
Maybe they're doing like aerobics.
They could be doing aerobics or something, but what I mean, she just comes up with any aerobics. Aerobics. I mean, of all the things to think of, aerobics. Anyway, let's move swiftly on. Yeah, a video has surfaced in the UK in Manchester of a schoolgirl beating another schoolgirl up who has special needs. The girl is around 12 years of age. Now, the girl in Manchester has been arrested, but when her image and the video surfaced on the internet, you could tell by this young one that she's going to be a right owl and she's going to be a trouble for her parents. Now, again, you know, I do blame the parents, because if the parents were raising their child properly, then the child wouldn't be a horrible human, despicable human being picking on a defenseless girl with special needs. But anyway, the public responded and there was a backlash. The girl has now been arrested, so we'll hear more on that. But the girl who is the victim of the vicious attack, and by the way, just to let you know, I've seen this video. Yeah, where the girl is getting her head kicked in. Yeah, she's kicking her head like a football, by the way, right? Like proper kicking, like the way blokes used to fight, kicking, right? So anyway, yeah, the daughter needs some punishment, but the parents also. Why is your child acting like that? They're obviously failed, or they're in the pub all the time. And then people say, well, you're jumping the gun now. But listen, most of the time, 90% of the time, that is the case. The parents are off drunk somewhere else, or they're taking drugs, or they're doing something. They're not looking after their kids. So their kids run around and act like wild animals. But anyway, to the victim of this, there has been a GoFundMe that has been set up to pay for all the medical expenses, and I think it's already reached its target. And also, because she lives in Manchester, Manchester United fans have all got together, especially some within the YouTube community, and they've been alerting the players and others. And I think it was actually a Man United legend has actually said they will bring the child around to see Old Trafford. So it looks like that kid may go and get to see. Now, well, you know, I mean, people will say, well, how do you know if she likes football or not? That's not the point. The point is that the community in Manchester, which are football mad, and the fans want to do something nice for this little girl. It's absolutely horrible. I don't know what we've become as a society, but that kind of behaviour is uncalled for. It's disgusting. And that child, seriously, someone took a screenshot of a freeze frame, and she looks like a future serial killer. And I'm sorry to say that about someone's kid, but this girl, you could tell she's evil. You don't do what that, you just don't. That is pure evil. And, you know, we're seeing a lot with our young folk nowadays. We see it in Ireland. There's beach fights, there's streets fights. You know, it's happening in the UK, it's happening in America, it's happening in Canada. Our youth are just out of control. And we as a society have failed them, because, you know, we had adults in our society that were speaking, well, kids should be given more responsibility. We should cut them a little bit more slack. They should have more rights and all of this and this, that, and the other. And you know, just because you're a parent doesn't mean that, you know, that you shouldn't chastise your kids or educate your kids or punish your kids, and this is the result. This is the result. You need discipline in your life. You need rules in your life. You need responsible parents, because if you don't have responsible parents, you see what you get to see what we see in over the last few years. Parents are more concerned about being best friends with their kids rather than raising their kids. And also as well, they're afraid though to actually raise their kids the way they want to raise their kids, because the government are telling them, well, you can't do this, you can't do that. At the end of the day, kids need discipline. People might disagree with that. I'm not saying physical, but they need some sort of discipline. They need rules. They need guidelines. They need to know right from wrong. And parents have copped that responsibility to the schools. Well, the schools kind of demanded it, because all of these people speaking, my kids deserve more rights and more say and all of this. So it was kind of really taken from parents, but parents should have fought harder to say, no, hang on here, we're the parents, right? We even have the activists out there saying, just because you have kids, they're not your kids. Like even the American government have said that, well, they're not your kid. Yet they are. If we have a kid, it's our kid. That's how it works. You're not in charge of them. We are. We're the parents. It's their job to raise them. That's it, mate. That's it, Chris. Absolutely spot on. A parent's job is to set boundaries and raise them, not to be their friends. Once your kids are adults, then you can be friends. That's it. Then you can go and do the father stuff or the mother-father stuff, or the, do the stuff with your parents, whatever it is, and enjoy life. But you're right. The boundaries must be set at an early age. But unfortunately for a lot of these kids, it's not. So I got to be honest, when I saw that video yesterday, it was utterly disgusting and it disgusted me. It's absolutely sick. But moving swiftly on, actually, to something that's a little bit funny. So, do you know the way we always say that the media can't be trusted? And, we always say that, they never tell us the truth. Well, something interesting happened in Ireland. I can't even talk about it without giving a straight face. So, a video surfaced on the internet of a couple of lads in a beach in Dublin, right, digging a hole, right? Lads doing what lads do, right? When you were a kid, you went to the beach, your dad was digging holes, you dig a little water fort or whatever, right? So these lads just decided to dig a hole for the laugh, right? And they took video footage of the whole lot of it, right? And they stuck it up online. The next day, on an Irish channel, no doubt, on the news, a journalist is there with a fucking fella that studies fucking meteors, right? He has a rock in his hand. And he's basically on national television telling everybody that this could be a cosmic event, right? That this could be one of the most important discoveries, right? In whatever, right? So they do this whole news thing, and then everybody is like, "Are they for real?" It's like a couple of lads in the beach fucking dug the hole. So they put the two fucking, whoever did it, put the lads digging the hole and then the RTE, or not the RTE, the Virgin Media News report together in the one video, and it's hilarious, it is. But it just goes to show you how dumb. Listen, Slow News Day in Ireland, that they went and reported on a so-called cosmic event, which turned out to be a bunch of lads that just dug a hole in a Dublin beach in the sand because they've nothing better to do, right? And this is the same media that want us to believe that there's a far right in Ireland, that we're all a bunch of bigots. You know, we don't know what we're talking about, and they can't even report on the news properly. And then when they do report on some news, it turns out that it's not actually news at all. It's because they didn't do research. And this is the shocking thing, actually. All joking aside, though, we should be really concerned that Virgin Media News sent the crew out to Portmarnock Beach to report on a hole that was dug by lads, and then go on national television and report it as a cosmic event. If they're capable of being that stupid, right, and not doing proper research, because all it would have took is a click on social media for them to see that that was a couple of lads that dug a hole, and they would never have to embarrass themselves. But it just goes to show you the level of journalism in this country, that they couldn't do basic research when it came to a hole in a beach in Portmarnock. So what else are they not researching properly? And what else have they not touched on? And this is why I'm saying, all joking aside here, and this is actually a serious matter. Because if they're easily fooled like that, well, then how can we trust them to report and tell us what's going on in their country? Now, we haven't been able to do that for decades anyway, right? Because RTE has always been a propaganda news channel anyway. It's always been a propaganda channel. TV3, when it was called TV3, when it first came along, we were hoping, and at first they were different to RTE, and they were willing to do that journalism that RTE wasn't willing to do. But now they're all doing the same thing now, that even some journalists that worked for Virgin Media are now doing their own independent journalism, because there is no journalism anymore. We do have some journalists here in Ireland that are actually doing a great job, but they're few and far between, unfortunately. But you cannot trust the news. I mean, you know, it was a hole in the beach, and they didn't even do simple research. And this is what makes me worried. You know, when everything else fails, the last line of defense for us is supposed to be the journalists. They're supposed to tell us what's going on to keep us informed. But if they can't even do basic research, and they can be fooled like that, well then how can we trust them whatsoever? I don't think we can. And this is why independent journalism is important in this country, and why they all should be working in tangent with each other. I've noticed something as well, just in relation to everything that's going on in my country. Irish Twitter is very peculiar, as in there seems to be a lot of paranoid people on the thing. Listen, not everybody that wants to get involved in the movement or is interested in what you have to say is a spy, or is you know, because there seems to be a lot of paranoid. Listen, I said this, I've made a couple of videos as well. Community leaders all need to come together. These all need to be on the same page, and these all need to come up with a viable plan. And these all need to stick to that plan. And these all must agree on that plan. And this is why the community leaders have to be the strongest out of everybody that's around them, right? And it's important that the community leaders are not and not influenced by other people around them. You have to set a clear plan, a clear mandate on what you want to achieve. But you've got to work together. And everybody on Twitter as well, instead of fighting with each other and being in little factions with each other, the only way you're going to win this is if you come together. They want to keep us all apart. They want people fighting with each other, right? That's how they win. If you look throughout history, that's how they win. They get us fighting with each other, and then they just swoop in. And we've got to learn from history because it's all there. This is not rocket science, folks, right? You achieve great things if you work together. If you go in as separate entities, one crowd will want to do their way, do it their way, so on and so on and so on, and then you get nowhere. You got to work together, because if you don't, this country is, look, it's being reported by other journalists around the world that this country has fallen. I disagree. This country has not fallen yet, because there are good people out there right now that are fighting in their communities, that are speaking up on social media, that are doing their part. So the country hasn't fallen yet. But the only way to win this is to work together. And you can take inspiration from our 1916 leaders. They all came together for a common goal, a common purpose, right? And they put their differences aside. And remember, they all had their different beliefs, but they all had the same goal. And that goal was a free Ireland. Okay? They may have had their different beliefs, but they had the same goal. And that goal was a free Ireland. So this is what needs to happen. So all of this infighting, this little bitching that's going on, that I've seen go on, and I haven't said anything about it, because quite frankly, you know, it's not my place to say that on Twitter, but I will say it here so people can hear me and see me face. But you all need to stop. You all need to put that aside now. You all have the same goal, which is to get rid of this government, right? And place in a government that's going to do right by the Irish people. In order to do that, it's work together or lose. Simple as that. And we will lose, by the way. Let me make no bounds about it. You don't work together, put all the sniping behind you, all the little catfighting, and you don't come together to work together, then we have no hope. And this is why the community leaders, in my opinion, and those people right now that have the ears of people out there on social media and the people, Irish people in general, they need to be the ones that need to now set up this viable plan. What are the goals? What do we want to achieve? And how we're going to achieve those goals. And of course, unlike the 1916 rebels, though, we won't be using what they needed to use, which was violence, because violence is not the way to do things. Because as soon as we turn to that, that's when everybody will turn against this movement. So we got to be clever also. And I think everybody in their communities that have protested and have been out have been a credit to their communities, because there's been no such stuff happening like that. The only stuff that's happened is when the Gardaí have overexerted themselves and made a few arrests. And then, of course, the crowd is going to be buoyed by that. But there has been no violence. And you should be very proud of yourselves, because it's very easy to turn to violence. But the Irish, I think we've had enough of violence throughout our history, and we're trying to do things differently. But be under no illusion, this country has not fallen. And this is why I say to the journalists out there that report falsely on my country, please don't, right? Because Ireland has not fallen because the people have rose up. That's the difference. We haven't dawdled. We've actually rose up straight away. Okay, and the Irish people are making their mark. And the Irish people will win this. Because at the end of the day, once we put our mind to something, once we know our heritage, traditions, our country, our children, our grandparents, our mothers and fathers are in danger, then the Irish people are going to do something about it. I already talked about Europe at the start. We do need to get out of Europe. That's one of the biggest issues that we have as a country. But Europe is also responsible, the World Economic Forum and the UN. You know, everything that's being pushed is being pushed by all of those. And I mean, the Irish government can't even create their own laws without going cap in hand to Europe to see if it's okay. I mean, we don't even run our own. I don't even know why we have a government, because our government are basically puppets on a string. We need to cut those strings, and we need to leave Europe as well. But in order to do that, we need to get a government in place that wants that actually supports what the people want. Unfortunately, right now, we don't have a government in place that wants to come out of Europe. And Sinn Féin, a lot of Irish people were pinning their hopes on Sinn Féin, but Sinn Féin have also shown that they're willing to take Europe's billions in financial money in order to take in, all of these people and all the other stuff that Europe. So Sinn Féin's no different. I mean, Sinn Féin fought the Brits to get them out, and yet today Sinn Féin has no problem in letting foreign nationals come into Ireland and take over the country, but they had a problem with the Brits. I mean, they're hypocrites. They're traitors. They're all traitors, by the way. And, hopefully they pay for it in the ballot box. But there's a couple of new parties now that have came to the fore, but unfortunately, as you all know, you know politics like I do, and a lot of you do. A lot of these new parties need a time to establish themselves, unless some sort of miracle happens and these parties can grow very fast and win a lot of seats at the next election, which is a possibility, but it's still a big major task. And we're still, the next general election, we could be looking at a Fianna Fáil Sinn Féin coalition. We could be looking at a Fine Gael Fianna Fáil coalition, which we've already had, or we could see a Fine Gael Sinn Féin coalition, because no matter what those two parties say now, if Sinn Féin get enough votes and the others don't, they'll have to do business with them this time. And then Sinn Féin, Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael already sold their parties out anyway, because they work together, right? So if any of those parties work with Sinn Féin, sure, they've broken every promise that they've ever made, because they said they'd never go into government with them, both parties. So, but that's where we're heading, and that's where we're heading, unless we get some sort of miracle from one of these parties. If they put enough candidates out there, maybe they can, the public can be swayed to vote for them. But again, then you're voting in people that a lot of them would be inexperienced right now. And a lot of these people need to, you need to get that experience as well. So, I mean, look, it's not just as easy as putting candidates out there saying, yeah, vote for me. you know, these people first time in politics it's going to be, you know, and they're going to get that, they're going to need that experience. And I don't think the Irish people are going to vote in inexperienced people, even though I think those inexperienced people probably do a better job running the country than the so-called experienced people that we've had for the last few decades. Listen, all I'll say is that I've had a lot of Taoiseachs, and I've seen a lot of governments, coalition governments as well. I've seen Fianna Fáil governments and stuff. Not one of them, in the time that I'm alive, not one of them kept the promise that they made. Right? So, you know, it's not just failures today. People need to realise that Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, Labour, Greens, you know, and all the other parties that were ever in coalition that don't exist, right? None of these assholes ever did what they said they were going to do, right? They broke a lot of promises, right? And this country went to shit as well, and they burnt the Irish taxpayer as well. Remember, they covered up church scandals, they covered up payment scandals, right? Developers, all of that, right? Corrupt all the way through and have been for decades. It doesn't matter who you put in, they've all been corrupt, every single one of them, right? And but unfortunately in Ireland we don't have many choices, so they keep getting voted in. Now this time there are new parties, but you know, a couple of people are saying, well, you know, you should keep an eye on this party, and then people say, oh, you should keep an eye on this party, and then this party comes out with something I don't agree with, and I'm like, no, because once it starts, there's one party that believes in the man-made climate hoax, but then they have the ideals that I believe in and other stuff. But then I'm kind of like thinking, well, if you have that stance on climate, if you get in, you'll probably change your stance on other things. And I can't be trusted. Look what happened in Italy. Can't be trusted. So you got to be careful who you vote for as well. So make sure, you know, especially us Irish, because we'll have a general election soon. Just be careful and make sure you know everything about who you're voting for. So that's what I was saying. But apparently they're all the community leaders hopefully are going to be meeting up, and there's a clear plan, because people need to come together in order for, you know, in order for us to get this all going. This is the 5th time I've seen him walk. That's a bit suspicious. Okay, we'll leave it there. It's just but yeah, so that's what's going on anyway. So no, did you know that England's greatest military leader, the Duke of Wellington, was actually Irish? Politics makes my head. Yes, sure, we have the monument. Politics makes my head spin. All the politics and parties are corrupt and shite, never done an honest day work in their lives. Matthew Pounder says, God bless her. I think that's in response to the young girl that got her head kicked in like a football. Absolutely disgusting. People in the UK get the Tories out, that all aged well and good. That's all well and good, but what have people forgotten is Labour is just as shit, if not worse. That's what I mean. I've seen what they're putting out. I mean, England, the English voters are screwed over just like we are. Because what alternative is there? And that's the thing that people don't understand. It's easy for people out there to say, you know, we need to vote these parties out. That's all well and good. But the viable alternative here was Sinn Féin, and now they've sold out. So now we're left scrambling now to see who else is viable. The Social Democrats definitely not, right? So that leaves these new parties, right? And they're just not going to have enough seats in the next election to make any impact. So then again, we have to wait another 7 years until the next another. So you know what I mean? So it's unless a miracle happens. You said it before and all politicians promise you heaven and earth during the election, then change their stance once they win. The Prime Minister of Italy is the perfect example. Exactly. They never, no politician. I think the closest politician to ever come close, world politician to come close to anything that they promised was JFK. But of course, we all seen what happened to him. But he tried to make things right. And I can't think of a politician here in Ireland. You know, all of our politicians, I mean, Jack Lynch, he was obviously Taoiseach of this country now. Obviously, you know, I was too young to remember him as Taoiseach though. But my dad hated him. But the one thing that, from going back to all of the crises that he had in his government and the shit that was going on, you know, he came across as a man with integrity, to be quite honest with you. And I don't think we've had a Taoiseach since him with any integrity, to be quite honest with you. Because Charles Haughey definitely didn't have any integrity. Bertie Ahern, John Bruton, all of them, Brian Cowan. I'm obviously forgetting some. Albert Reynolds. You know, well, Albert was kind of screwed over, in fairness, but you know, our Irish political history is, especially when I grown up, very complicated. But we haven't had, in my lifetime anyway, a Taoiseach that I consider had integrity or was completely uncorrupt. And unfortunately, even Leo DeLeek, Micheál Martin also has had his own little scandals and stuff. I mean, they're just, and you say get rid of the old guard to bring in the fresh blood, but you bring in the fresh blood, they're all leftist twats anyway, so you can't even do that either. So Ireland is in a spot of bother, but the people are doing something about it. As for the government, we can only do our best and hope that these smaller parties can make some inroads and then become a viable opposition, because that's what we need in Ireland right now. We're not going to get one of these parties into government, but what we do need is we need a viable option for opposition. And Sinn Féin have sold out, and they're traitors to this country, by the way. And you know, I'm going to say to Michelle O'Neill and to Mary Lou MacDonald, what you could do now is you can pack your bags, yeah, and you can move over to the UK and stay over there, okay, and let them deal with you, and actually let them charge us, right, because you're leaders of a party that went on a murder spree in Northern Ireland and the UK. And now you are telling us so basically what you're saying is that all of those lives that were lost during the Troubles mean absolutely fuck all now. That's what you're saying by opening these borders. You fought the Brits, you did, to keep them out of our country, and now you are just opening the borders to every Tom, Dick and Harry. Do you not see how much of a hypocrite that makes you as a party, and does not see how you are perceived as fucking traitors. Because that's what you are in my eyes. You are traitors. Right? I even had high hopes for Mary Lou McDonald. I really did. I thought at one stage she would have made a great fucking Taoiseach. I thought she'd be a great leader of this country. No nonsense, no bullshit, and would look after the people. But you've turned out just like the rest of them, haven't you? Haven't you? And what's it all for? EU money, you little scumbag. EU money. You sold out our heritage, our traditions, our sovereignty for that. That's what you're willing to do if you go into government. Right? You're a traitor. Just like Leo, just like Mihal and all the other little rats in Dáil. Yous are all a bunch of traitors. Every single one of yous. And we will get yous all out eventually through the ballot box. We will get yous out. And yous will be done. Yous be all working in Tesco and Burger King and McDonald's by the time we're finished with you. And some of yous will be in prison as well. Because that's what yous deserve. For selling out this country and its people and its sovereignty and everything that makes this country Ireland. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. And then you go and you mention one of the greatest patriots that we ever had. You have the fucking nerve to mention Michael Collins. His name come out of our mouth. He'd be ashamed of every single one of yous. What did he fight for? What did he fight for? What was the point of him getting up off his arse like all the other lads and ladies that did during their revolution? What was the point of them getting up off their arses if we were just going to sit back and let it all just go fucking disappear? And this is why I'm saying that the people on social media, you need to stop fighting with each other here now, right? And stop catfighting and stop, because I don't like this person, I don't like this person. We need to come together. Our country is being destroyed. Our country is being sold out. Our government doesn't care about its people. And you just want to fight with each other and settle scores with each other. Instead of working together to get these assholes out. So yeah. Full of traitors. And that's what we're dealing with. And it's going to take us a couple of elections to get these traitors out. But we'll do it. We'll do it. But you got to work together. We've got to work together, folks. It's the only way we win. If we don't, we lose. And we lose bad. We lose our national identity. We lose what it is to be Irish. Right? Our women will be unsafe. Our children will be unsafe. Our communities will be unsafe. All of their traditions and values will be destroyed and replaced. I've always loved my country. I consider myself patriotic. I do. I've always defended this country. People badmouth my country on social media. I'll respond. I'll defend this country. Yes, we've had our problems. We're not a perfect country. We're far from it. But I believe in the people. And the people are good. It's not our fault that we're being led by a bunch of corrupt politicians who want to drag this country's reputation down, which they have. They've made us a laughing stock. And for an Irish person, that's hard to take. It's hard to take to look at your country. We all laugh at America, and I can probably, now I get it. Americans are probably sick of it, and it makes them feel when people ridicule their country. Now I know how it feels. It's fucking horrible. Everybody saying these things about your country, about your government, who's supposed to represent you, but are becoming national news for the wrong reasons. It hurts. Of course it hurts. And every day they're coming out and they're saying something fucking stupid to embarrass us even further. It's why Irish people have had enough. It's why communities are rising up. It doesn't matter what the issue is. It could be climate change. It could be gender ideology. It could be the fake UGs coming in. No matter what it is, people are coming together. But don't do all that. Don't undo all that good work. Because, you know, as I said, as the movement grows bigger, more people will want to get involved, and people have to be less paranoid and be more willing to open up and let people into their circles and help in any way that they can. People need to be less closed off. If the 1916 rebels can come together to work together, then we can do the same. Sorry, I hit the wire that time. Anyway, in 5 days there'll be a march outside government buildings. And everybody that believes in their country has been told to turn up. So, turn up if you love your country, if you want to save your country. Because if you don't, look, you don't want history to remember us as the Irish people that sat back and let these assholes destroy our country. When we're long and gone and they talk about this moment right now, let them think back and say, do you know what? We should try to be like those Irish people that stood up for what they believed in and stood up for this country. Just like we do with our heroes, our revolutionaries. They're heroes and revolutionaries for a reason. Because they took a stand and they even gave their lives for this country. Now, look, people will have their level of how far they'll go for Ireland and all of that. I'm not saying you should die for your country, but you should fight for it. And you should fight with every fibre of your being. I don't think it'll come to that anyway. I mean, the other part, I don't think it'll ever come to that. Because, you know, it won't. It just won't. It won't. The government will go before that happens, trust me. It's never going to happen. We can't go back to those times, so, you know, it's not the way we do things now. Anyway, so apparently, for any fans of Jeremy Clarkson, it looks like that Amazon and Jeremy Clarkson may be doing, there might be more Clarkson farm, because apparently it's going to be renewed. So there's a bit of entertainment news for you there, because I know a lot of people are fans of him. I'm a fan of him myself. Also, yeah, so I'll bring this up in the context of the actor. David Tennant, as you know, is back on the scene in the show that some of you guys watch now. But It seems that Mr. Tennant has decided to double, triple, maybe quadruple down on wearing. Do you remember he wore the trans t-shirt, but then when he went into the one show, he took it off because he was only pandering for that little bit. Then he put on a proper shirt and went into the interview. Well, he was photographed again with a little pin on his jacket, and I'll try show you on the camera there. So it's the rainbow flag, as you know, and then underneath here, this flag here is the trans flag, and then in the middle it says "You are safe with me." Now, I would like to ask why an adult in David Tennant is wearing a pin that says "You will be safe with me." Why do you have to wear a pin? You've already made your feelings and opinions clear on it. So why are you continuing to pander to a small minority on the whole planet? And this is another reason why I say, look, it's up to you, but boycotts only work if everybody comes together. And that's all I'm going to say in it. But as long as people keep talking about Doctor Who, and, you know, as long as people, you know, keep promoting it in any way, we're not going to get anywhere. But that was put up by Kelly J. Keane, who is going to be in Dublin for Let Women Speak march, protest, or whatever the fucking meeting that's going on. All the activists have said that they're going to turn up, but apparently the Gardaí now are taking it seriously, and apparently they're going to be separated, which is about bloody time. You know, at the end of the day, you know, they do their protest. They don't want anybody there, and if anybody turns up to get violent, you know, and they only turn up at these Let Women Speak rallies to silence women. So I'm glad the Gardaí is actually taking it seriously and doing something about that. So as I said, Greta Thunberg has been charged in Sweden because she broke into a yacht, but they did the whole, you know, photo op. Oh, look, she's being dragged out. Also, let me see. Yes, Richard Ayoade is in the news because he's been criticised for supporting Graham Linehan and the brilliance of a new book. Now, for anybody that doesn't know, Graham is the creator, co-creator, or creator of Father Ted and the IT Crowd, and he's been cancelled by the trans activists because he defends women's rights and the safety of children. Now, because Richard has had some good things to say about him, he has now found himself in the firing line, just like a couple of other people that were on the IT show who have come out in support of Graham have also faced a backlash from these cultists who are acting like a bunch of 1930 bad Germans. Cancel everybody. There's canceling everybody. So absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. But that's what they're all about, canceling people. Also, it looks like, just want to bring this up very briefly, but we have blocked them so far. But there is a person that trolled me 4 or 5 years ago who was saying things, disgusting, vile things about me and people that I know, has popped up on the scene all of a sudden again and start threatening me again. Also sent some vile stuff to Daniel as well. So if you're on X, if you see any accounts that you don't recognize, go in and check them first, folks, to see what kind of stuff they're throwing up. And if you don't know who they are, my suggestion would be to block on. So I know Elon is getting rid of the block button, but for now, for your own peace of mind, because this person is sending disgusting pictures again and threatened to have me. And I'll say no more. So yeah, back again. But they tried to troll me on my Man United channel, but I got rid of them straight away because, you know, nowadays we just don't react to that shit now, and it doesn't bother me anymore. Like, I mean, these people can't really do any harm to me, and if they turned up at my front door, sure I wouldn't be the one leaving in an ambulance, let's just say that. Okay, so it'd be grand. You know, I fear nobody, right? Because all they are is little wasted spaces. Anyway, I found something funny as well in Ireland, only in Ireland. So Trinity College, and for anybody that doesn't know, Trinity College is a very famous Irish college. It's known around the world. It also hosts the Book of Kells and all of that, and has a very famous old library. But you know, the future of Irish politicians and or people that are going to be in the entertainment industry always end up in Trinity College. So the students in Trinity College, who are supposed to be the smartest and brightest people that we have in our society, are moaning and had a protest outside the Book of Kells, right? Now, I'll tell you what they were protesting now in a minute, but they did do an earlier protest, right, where they were saying refugees were welcome, right? So the Irish government proceeded to bring in loads, right? Now, whether you think they're refugees or not, a lot of influx of people came into Ireland, right? Now what's happened is that these students have no homes, right? They've no roof over their heads, right? And now they're saying houses for all. Well, you see, it's because you had that stance in the first place when you welcomed all of these people into the country, which the government has said over 60% of them are probably unvetted, illegal, right? So over 60%. So only 40% the government is admitting are legit, and 60% apparently are illegal. Now, I reckon that figure is actually higher, by the way. The true figure is higher, because they never tell the truth. So the government's saying 60%, right? Always remember that when the government gives you a percentage, add another 10 or 15% to it. So the real figure is probably around between 75%, right? Anyway, these students actually had a bit of a clash with a couple of people, tourists, that wanted to come over and see the Book of Kells, because they want homes for all now. But you see, for so-called smart people, you know, we've had a housing crisis in this country for decades. Even before some of you were born, we had a housing crisis. Even before I was born, there was a housing crisis, right? Even before I was born, there was a housing crisis, right? So there's been a housing crisis in Ireland ever since I've known, right? And before I came along. So I'll just be generous here and say there's been a housing crisis in Ireland for about 65 to 70 years, right? Okay, not one government has been able to fix the housing crisis. And then you guys turn around and say, oh, last year and the year before, oh, let's refugees welcome, migrants welcome. And now you are screaming because you have no houses. Well, that's why you have no houses, dummy. Because we have no houses to house our own, but now we've taken an influx of people into the country, and some are living in tents, even though we got Irish people living in hotels and tents and in alleyways and stuff and dying on the streets. but you wanted us to take in more people. And we already had a housing crisis. And now you're bitching and moaning because you don't have a house. Well, I've no sympathy for you. For so-called intelligent people that go to fucking Trinity College. By the way, let me just say, Trinity fucking College, right? You don't need to be bitching and moaning about accommodation in Trinity fucking College. I'm pretty sure that your rich fucking parents could get you somewhere to live. It's just another excuse for you little bitches to have a bitch and a moan. Right? So, for so-called, as I said, future leaders, future people that are probably going to be on their TV screens or poets, writers, whatever these are going to be, directors, whatever. These are a dumb bunch. The reason why you don't have a roof over our heads because their government took in people even though we couldn't house our own in the first fucking place. And now we've got all of those people that we can't house, plus on top of that, the Irish people that we couldn't house already, right? Students that can't get into student accommodation, old folks that are getting kicked out of old folks' home to make allowances for all these people, and these are bitching and moaning about homes. Go and kiss me arse, right? Kiss me arse. You are in this position because of the stances that you had, so I've no fucking sympathy for any of you. Right? If you want fucking roof over your head, right, well then what you need to fucking do is you need to tell the government to fucking get their act to fucking together and start deporting all of these fucking illegal fucking immigrants that come into this fucking country. Right? They said over 60%, but I'm telling you it's way more than that. Alright? You've no fucking home because of the stance that you had. Right? And I've no sympathy for you. So you can keep crying, bitching and moaning. And by the way, the tourist industry is already in the fucking shitter because we're housing fucking Ukrainians in hotels that should be used for tourists, right? So our tourist industry has been decimated. A country that everybody loves to come to, right? I don't know why really, but everybody wants to come to Ireland and spend money in Ireland. They can't do that now because they can't get a hotel. Irish people dying in the streets for decades. And you didn't make this much noise when it came to your own people. But when it came to other people in other countries, you screamed loud for them. Again, like the people that we have in government, you're traitors to your people. I've no sympathy for you. And I don't care. You won't end up in a tent. Daddy and Mammy will sort you out with a brand new apartment anyway. Okay? Yeah, Trinity College is not free, by the way, folks. Right? Trinity College, right? You have to be well to do. So trust me, these students that are fucking protesting, their mammies and daddies are probably driving around in high-powered cars and they live in some fucking nice suburb in Dublin or Dalkey or whatever it fucking is with fucking 7 bedrooms, right? So don't worry about those fucking students. What those students should be worried about is the homeless people that are dying on the fucking streets every night of the fucking week. But they don't. So no sympathy, right? And stop fucking blocking people from going in to see our fucking historical stuff. Alright? Fucking cheeky is. And the state is as well. Some of you, I saw a photograph of them. Some of you need a bar of soap. For people that have a lot of money, you don't know how to fucking wash yourselves anyway. I can tell you fucking that. Go and have a fucking shower and a bath. Anyway, rant over. What else did I see that I wanted to get off my chest? I think that was it, really. Oh, just one more thing. Obviously, New York is suffering what Dublin is suffering right now. And you've got the American politicians like AOC, even though New York is being absolutely decimated. Oh no, we're going to take more of them in now. We're going to take more of them in. The sooner the opportunity that you have to get her kicked out of where she is in Congress, I would advise you to get her out as soon as. People like her and people that think like her, and they're in every country, need to be kicked out of wherever they are, right? So if they hold a seat somewhere, they need to be kicked out, right? And never voted back in, by the way. You make sure they're never put back in again. They don't give a fuck about their countries, none of these people. They say that they love America, they love their country. Same with people that they love their. You don't love your country. If you loved your country, you wouldn't be trying to do harm to it. Right? As I said, my country is not perfect. We've had our scandals in this country. Right? We swept things under the rug as well. But us as a people have always demanded truth, justice, and the right thing to be done. And we will make sure that those beliefs are held up again. We want truth, justice, we want our traditions, our values to be respected. We want our women and our children to be safe. And we're going to do everything that we can to make sure that that happens. And the first step is obviously protesting against this government. Second step then is to get them out of power and hopefully get people in that we know have Ireland's, not just us as people, but our country's best interests at heart. Remember, we live on this island. This island's our home. It has sheltered us as a people, and we owe it to our homeland to protect it. Not just the people, not just their traditions, the country itself. We need to save it before it's too late. Or we'll end up like New Zealand. We'll end up like Canada. Places that have fallen. And if that happens to this beautiful country, we lose everything that it is to be Irish. We lose our traditions, our values, our sense of community. Everything that makes us us will be erased. Do you notice how it's not just in Ireland, but you notice how it's right wing to love your country. It's right wing to want to protect your communities. It's right wing to suggest that men shouldn't be using women's bathrooms. It's right wing to say that kids shouldn't be taught about sex and all of that other stuff that's being taught in books. It's right wing to say you're proud of your country and its people. It's right wing to respect your values and your traditions. It's not right wing. Anyway, but for Irish people, I want you to think of this. If Michael Collins was alive today, the loony left would say he was right wing. Because everything that I've just said there, wanting to protect your community, families, your traditions, your values, sense of community, self is your Irishness. He fought for all of that. Right? That's what we're fighting for now. He'd be considered right wing today. And I think he'd be proud of that, to be quite honest with you, of that title, because there's nothing wrong with being proud of your country and what's best for your country. But that's the world we live in. And it's happening in every country. not just Ireland. We've seen it happen in other countries for a while, and we've laughed as other countries because we were kind of safe from it originally, but it's affected every country. And some countries have fallen, some have stood up to it, and some have downright, like the likes of Hungary, Poland, have downright just said, look, we're closing our borders, don't feck yous, we're doing our own, we're going to protect their values, their traditions. And look at those countries, not other than the internal problems that they have in those countries, right? But you look, right, there's no people over there smashing up places, robbing shops, looting, destroying religious fucking symbols, all of this shit, right? None of that goes on in their countries, and I wonder why. Yeah, the IT crowd is good. Anyway, folks, as I said, yeah, Lee is still not feeling up to it, so he hopefully will be back soon. He's got a lot of work to catch up on as well. He's not on Twitter at the moment because he sent me the message on Instagram. So he's gone off Twitter so he can get some work done. So just in case anybody is wondering where he is, he probably would have told everybody on his Twitter account anyway, but I just want to tell you here that yeah, he's off Twitter at the moment because he's catching up with work. And he'll be back as soon as he can. And PD had work tonight as well, but hopefully we'll be back on the normal time next week. Just trying to see if there's anything else before we leave. Oh yeah, in the UK, American pit bulls. Apparently, the UK government is going to be banning American pit bulls because of a recent attack. Apparently, now there's always going to be a debate on whether American pit bulls or pit bulls in general are safe dogs or not. But I always believe this, and this is what I believe, and this is just me personally. I believe if you treat the dog correctly, and if you you treat the dog lovingly, and you do all the right things by your dog, and you train your dog properly as you're supposed to train a dog anyway, then because if American pit bulls are as dangerous as everybody makes them out to be, well then how come we don't? There isn't. It's not on the news all the time because, being honest, if they're that dangerous of a breed and stuff, we'd probably be having we'd have 5 or 6 stories a bloody day, maybe every day, 365 days of the year. The reality is that they're not actually, there are attacks, but they're not really as mainstream as people make them out to be. But most of the time, when these animals attack, you look at their owner, their owners have had shady pasts and may have been involved in dog stuff and all of this. I just think it's wrong to condemn a breed of dog based on maybe, because even the RSPCA have even come out to say, because the Prime Minister over there, he just wants to ban them outright. But even the RSPCA, I think, are not even saying that. There are, your dog is like everybody else, right? If you treat your dog like shit, right, then one day that dog is going to turn on you and he's going to absolutely decimate you. End of story, right? If you treat that dog with love and tender care, right, and there's been no abuse whatsoever, that dog will grow up as a normal dog and be fine, will never do anything in its lifetime, right? Most of these owners do shit to their dogs, and this is why their dogs fucking torn. So I don't think a breed of dog should be condemned because of a few fucking owners that were irresponsible with their fucking dogs. So I just want to say that because as you know, I'm a dog lover myself, and I'm actually I don't own a pit bull, right? But I have known people that have had pit bulls and there's never been an incident. Never been an incident. Right? So it's how you treat animals. Exactly. It's how the dog was trained and how people interact with them. Exactly, mate. Exactly. Any dog can be vicious. However, a dog can be gentle and kind if raised properly. Exactly. You've got to instill that. It's like with your kids, as I was saying earlier, with discipline. Dogs also need that and they need the boundaries, but you teach them, and it is easy to teach dogs. You know what I mean? People say it's not. It is. It does take a bit of work, but it's worth it in the end. If you don't want your dog or you to be your dog to be put down or you to be sent to prison because your dog has done something fucking horrible because you were irresponsible. So I just wanted to bring that up because I saw that today, and as you know, I love dogs, and I'm just sick and tired of dogs being targeted all the time. At the end of the day, even as I said, the RSPCA, that many of these cases, the dogs that have done these horrible things have either come from abusive places or they've had, you know what I mean? So it's people just need to fucking just especially the British Prime Minister. I mean, you need to take a fucking step back here, right? And you said you're going to listen to the experts. Well, listen to the fucking experts because they will tell you outright banning dogs. And listen, be under no illusion, the owners that treat their pit bulls properly, right, are not going to give up those dogs easy, right? Because if they're banned dogs and they refuse to, their dogs are getting put down, folks. By the way, they're not going to gather them all up and put them on a boat and bring them to a different country or something. All the dogs are going to be destroyed. They're going to be killed. So the owners of the pit bulls, I'm telling you fucking now, the ones that treat them well, that have done the right thing by them, they're not going to give up their dogs easy. So this is not going to end well. So the British Prime Minister, you really need to listen to the experts because the experts, the RSPCA, animal behaviouralists, have actually said it, that taking dogs from these owners is not necessarily the right thing, or banning the dogs outright is not necessarily the right thing to do. My cousin raised pit bull dogs, and everyone were gentle and fiercely loyal. He would have been better doctor than Shooty, says Matthew. Anyway, that was the last thing I wanted to bring up on all of this. But that's it, really. As I said, I was just going to talk about things to get off me chest tonight. We'll be back the normal time next week, but on Sunday for you members, we will have a member stream. So look out for that. I will be live on Sunday for you members. I haven't forgotten you. We will have a member stream on Sunday. Definitely Sunday because the match is tomorrow. Sunday I kind of have off, so I'll stick it in the afternoon. Probably be Sunday afternoon anyway. More than likely, 98%. It will be Sunday. But just before we go, actually, I did see something on Twitter earlier, and I've got to mention it actually. But because I saw this a bit of a shock. So Clubby, as you know, we've had Clubby time on the channel. Also, as you know, they if you follow Clubby or any of the other YouTubers over there, you came across a guy called Cardinal Sin. It was just revealed last night. Tweet was put out there that Cardinal Sin passed away. Now I do know in the early days when we were here, I think he used to come in here. I'm not 100% sure. I'm pretty sure it was Cardinal Sin. But yeah, another fellow YouTuber, someone that we've probably all interacted at one stage or another on social media or maybe on someone's YouTube channel, has sadly passed away. So I just wanted to bring that up because obviously we've had Clubby on here before as well and stuff, and I think I might have been on a stream with Clubby, and well, I was on Clubby's channel, but I don't know if Cardinal was on. But again, another member of the community passed away. So just want to say to Cardinal Sin's family and friends, our thoughts and prayers are with you at this difficult time. But we will leave it there, folks, and we will be back, as I said, for you members on Sunday. Follow me tomorrow on Noel the Red Devil at 2:30, where we will be watching and reacting to Manchester United versus Brighton. Let's hope these bastards give me something to fucking actually cheer about tomorrow, because you know what? I can't. Another bad result send me over the edge, but hopefully we do well. So I'll be on there tomorrow. So come and join me for that. I want to thank you for joining me. Now it's starting to get a bit dark now. So much for this global boiling. Anyway, I'm gonna go because global boiling. Anyway, I'm gonna global boiling. I found a word that triggers you on. Just have to say. I just have to say global boiling, right? So anyway, I'm gonna go because she's gonna try and trigger me now. And you see, the thing about it is, I don't want you to see me reaction, because you'll just see a silhouette go through the window there. So have a good weekend. For the rest of you, I will see you tomorrow. And then for the members, I'll see you on Sunday. And yeah, that's it really. I've nothing else really to say now. I've read everything, so I'm gonna go. Have a good one, folks. Thanks for joining me. Don't forget to like, share the stream, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel, what the hell are you doing? And by the way, please check that you're still subscribed to the channel and you've got that little notification bell switched on. And one more thing as well, if you follow me on X, put your notification on there as well, because with the new algorithm, what's basically happened is, even if you have friends that you follow, your friends are not getting to see your tweets at all. You're seeing strangers' tweets, right? So what you need to do is you need to put on the notification button that says all tweets, so you can see me tweets on X, right? So get that notification button on as well. And I've done the same as well for a lot of years that I actually like listening to, and for the rest of you, I've just kind of ignored. But for the ones that I actually like, I have all tweets on, so I see some of you are tweets. So do the same for me, won't you? Anyway, I'm going to go now because this one is hovering for some weird reason, even though I've got a football stream coming up. But anyway, have a good one, Ezra. Good night, everybody. And I'll see you over on my gaming channel if anybody is going to join me there. Bye! It's this trailer. No, wrong trailer.